What's up, everybody? How y'all making out? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Crash Bang Boom podcast. You have a good Labor Day? Did you do laborious activities? Did you dig ditches or mow the lawn or clean out your gutters or perfect your quintuplet Radamacue inverted paradiddle-diddles? That's a thing, right? Well, I don't know about you, but I'm back in the saddle. Ow! And what better a guest than shred-tastic, drum-pounding, D-beat grinding machine Nick Yacyshyn of Sumac, Baptist, and Erosion. Dude stays busy. What can I say? And with all three of the aforementioned bands putting out records this year, there was no shortage of topics for us to hit upon. We even do a little geek out on our Ludwig drum collections and some of our favorite drummers who played them, like Ian Paice and John Bonham, and throw in Cozy Powell in there for good measure, even though we didn't really talk about him. Definitely talked about some AC/DC, though, and how that changed his life, which was a kick in the ass. But it was a great chat with the guy who, much like Ben Kohler, balances a rotating cast of fairly extreme bands and absolutely destroys in each of them. So you know I was down for this one. Shout out to my sponsor, New Orleans Record Press. If you're looking at putting out vinyl for your project, check out NewOrleansRecordPress.com for the real-time quote generator, packaging, coloring, mastering options, and more. In addition to being the first independently owned and operated full-scale, state-of-the-art record pressing facility in New Orleans, they're just good people doing great work. You know what I'm saying? So check them out and tell them Crash Bang Boom sent you. And that's NewOrleansRecordPress.com, y'all. All right, everybody. Nick Yacyshyn, Sumac, Baptist, Erosion. Crash Bang Boom.
Crowds go mad with joy. Get the
Nick Yacyshyn, I got it right?
Yeah.
I have a long-running history of fucking up last people's names on this podcast. So of all the last names, I'm proud of myself that I got yours right.
Yeah, sounds pretty good.
And for the record, not Japanese.
Not Japanese.
Okay. Ukrainian, you said?
Oui.
Okay. Yeah, nice. The French Ukrainian? Via Canada?
Super French, yeah.
That's amazing, man. Well, congrats on putting out all of these crazy records. I know we got a couple more from your other bands, and we'll talk about that. I'm excited to talk to you. I've been trying to catch up with you for a while, and I'm a fan of your playing. So it'll be fun to talk to you. I as well as you, apparently, both Ludwig fans.
Big time.
So we can have ourselves some Ludwig nerd outs.
Sure.
But in the meantime, how has this run been going with Sumac? That is the band you are currently on tour with for the new record that's coming out this month, correct?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
How has the run been going, and what's happening?
Yeah, so far so good. It's been really, the shows have been awesome. Excited people at them. And we're out with a pretty cool, diverse tour package, so it's like a fun night of music to watch every night, too, for us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Tell the people who else you're out here with.
We have Infernal Coil from Boise, Idaho, and we have Dialect as well. So
from here in Brooklyn, where we're doing this interview in the basement of the one and only St. Vitus Bar.
Here we are.
Yeah, it is most certainly a diverse lineup. I always appreciate a bill that mixes it up. I think, you know, if it was like 3 doom bands or whatever, like it just becomes a little monotonous, so it's nice to mix it up.
For sure, yeah. I don't know, the more the merrier. There's so much crossover in extreme and heavy music, or any music really, but it's good to kind of like have different things represented, not just like 3 blunt force bands, so by the time we go on, your brain's a pile of shit and you can't even like concentrate, you just want to leave. It's good to vary it a little bit.
Absolutely. For those of you, if there are any of you listening to this that book shows, please take note. Don't put the same 4 bands on a bill. It's okay to mix it up.
Yeah, and the music in between bands doesn't have to be extremely loud metal either. At the metal show.
Thank you for that as well.
Yeah. Sometimes, you know, Allman Brothers will do the trick.
Dude, I'm from the South, so you preaching to the choir, my man.
Yeah.
I'm all about the Allman Brothers. I've said for a longest time, like, slide guitar is my spirit animal.
Oh, yeah, there's something that happens when it's just a beautiful sound.
I love it.
Lovely sound.
I love it. My mother now has started playing the dobro. Are you familiar with the dobro?
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and it's crazy. Real high strings, high tension, but you slide everything.
Yeah.
And it's an amazing like mountain instrument. And she's approaching 70, and she just started to play it. So for those of you who say it's too late to play anything, keep it in mind that my mother has been playing that badass instrument. And I just heard her play it for the first time. I went back down to Louisiana, and I was just like, I can't believe this. Like, this has come full circle.
Yeah.
I've always loved this slide guitar shit, and here you are playing this mountain instrument.
That's super cool.
7 years old.
Yeah.
How about that shit?
Yeah, that's really cool.
Well, what are you going to play when you're 70 years old? You going to keep up with the drums, man?
Yeah, as long as I can. It's hard.
It's going to be hard to maybe play the extreme music that you're playing now when you're 70 years old.
I'll play the beer when I'm 70.
Exactly.
I'll play. I don't know.
Yeah, you might have to wind it down, play some slow blues, bro.
I might have to get some brushes or something.
Stick with the sticks, man. I'm telling you, I studied jazz, and I messed with brushes, and I was just like, you know what? I appreciate the art. I'll watch the guys that are incredible at it, but I got to say, I prefer having sticks in my hand.
Yeah, it's a little different satisfaction involved.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's the whole process, and I've mentioned it many a times, the process of striking things and creating explosions in time.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is, yes.
Well, I know we're jumping around a good bit here, but when did you start playing the drums?
I was 10, so I think it was the summer in between like 4th and 5th grade.
Really?
Yeah.
How did you come about the drums? Why the drums?
I don't know. I feel like something just happened, and I just like my interest in music started like getting more and more like in the forefront of my life, and I just like I feel like I don't know. I was just kind of like tapping on stuff all the time, and I'm not sure when it happened, but I remember like watching. I had this like live AC/DC VHS tape.
Awesome.
And it was
Phil Rudd playing drums.
I wish I could say it was Phil.
The bald guy from The Firm. What's his name?
Yeah, it was Chris Slade.
There it is, Chris Slade.
Yeah, it was like 1990 or whatever. It was the Monsters of Rock one, the huge one.
Yes.
So they like open with Thunderstruck or whatever. And when you're fucking 10 or whatever, that's
he had the flanked
two
bass drums. Thunder.
So
right?
that I feel like it was that made me want to start
the
playing
thunderous
drums
nature of that shit.
Because he's hitting these two fucking bass drums. I always wanted to try mounting bass drums up there.
Dude, that'd be so amazing.
I couldn't figure out how to pull it off with the shit I had. But
it's never too late, bro. You can do it now.
Maybe tonight. There's a bunch of drums laying around.
We got some. Let's set them fuckers up.
Yeah, but I feel like honestly, the visuals of that and how huge that show sounded and the power. Just from that shit, I feel was like a huge jump and like, okay, that's what I want to fucking do.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like that was a huge part. And then just like looking through my dad's records and stuff and like listening to all the shit that he had. So it was all kind of in that vein, just like heavy rock that was like somehow it's like that stuff was bare bones enough that it's like I know how to play one drum beat, but I can do that one drum beat and
appeal
play
to you, yeah.
all of these fucking songs.
Right.
So it was kind of cool.
It was achievable.
It's like, yeah, I can do this.
So you said your dad's record collection?
He had a portion of his records because the rest got like flooded in the crawl space, so he had like I don't know, maybe like 20 or 30 records left, and they're always like at the bottom of the entertainment shelf, so I would just like sit down there and pull records and be like, what's this one? And we'd just like put it on, and we would make tapes and stuff, and
awesome.
I would make tapes from his records. And
were you listening to it on a Walkman from there?
No, I didn't.
Or in a car?
No, it was for the car.
Nice.
So when we like drove around to do anything, we would put on,
throw on the tape,
fucking whatever, like Van Halen 1 or like whatever, Deep Purple or like the fucking Top Gun soundtrack or some shit,
right?
Whatever, So I feel like my dad was super like, yeah, let's do this, because I think he always wanted to be a drummer when he was a kid, but it was never like an option, like not even close to like happening. So when I was like, man, I want to do this, he's like, oh yeah,
fuck yeah,
yeah.
Maybe he subconsciously steered you there.
Who knows? Yeah, I don't remember. It's so long ago. But
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So somewhere between Chris Slade and Thunderstruck and and honestly, it's a name that comes up all the time, and I talk about him so much because I knew some of Deep Purple's music growing up, but not like the deeper cuts and some of the specific albums, whether it's in rock or even later to like Come Taste the Band or like everything in between, man.
Yeah.
All the Richie Blackmore stuff. But Jesus, I got into it, I think more so probably in the last 5-6 years.
Oh, cool, yeah.
And I've just been like, my God, man, Ian Paice. What the fuck, dude?
Yeah, Ian Paice is a total badass, and like
Total
nobody
badass.
talks about Ian Paice.
How is that possible?
I know, he's like, I mean, obviously his like licks and shit are next level.
His
and
pocket's crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's so like well-rounded, but he's totally like got the craziest chops. Like he's one of the most technical dudes of that time.
Oh, I've said he's like the Buddy Rich of rock and roll, man.
Yeah,
He'll rip
for
solos.
Sure. Yeah.
Like for real solos.
I know. I tried, man. I was looking up pictures of him, just like Google image search, like Ian Paice, Ludwig, to see, just to look at his drums and see what's up, because he, he's left-handed, and he had the cymbals stacked, like he would have like two the same size.
Yeah, what the fuck kind of cymbal stand was that?
I think you have to make it yourself.
Really?
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah.
Well, maybe who knows? Maybe Ludwig had some crazy shit going on in the late '60s or '70s or whatever.
Yeah.
But there was like a photo of him, and he had this tom, and I was like, "What the fuck rack tom is that?" Because it's not a 14. It's like a huge rack tom, and I found out, it was like a 16 by 8 or a 16 by 10 maybe that he got custom made.
Wide but shallow.
Yeah. So you can't tell what you're looking at.
Right.
You're like, this is
deceiving.
definitely not a 14, but I don't know what I'm looking at. Like, is this a small bass drum? No, it's a huge fucking bass drum. So
right, he was playing like 24s or 26s.
Yeah, I think he was always a big boy. So,
yeah,
I love that dude's playing, and hitting his kit, that Silver Sparkle shit.
And you know what? Another great thing about it, and I haven't really looked much into it, but whoever produced those records, they also, the same thing I love about Bonham, once again, a fucking Ludwig player, is that they really captured the live sound of those drums on those Deep Purple records. Yeah. So I'm assuming he must have had some say-so in that, but whoever was producing it was a drum aficionado and loved his playing and his sound, his live sound, and said, we got to get that on the record.
For sure, yeah, because, like, in rock and stuff, I love how that sounds, because it's so scrappy. It just sounds like fucking like out of control sounding, like especially how that record starts.
Oh yeah, dude.
Whoa. Oh. But like on Machine Head, like the drum sound is dialed.
Oh,
like,
it's dialed. The whole record is super dialed.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's totally badass.
Is it Lazy that starts with the drum fill?
Yeah, I think so.
That's just like, what the fuck? And
absolutely.
then just perfectly into the shuffle.
Yeah, dude. And even the Coverdale era, like with Stormbringer, like I'm a fan of that.
Burn is killer.
Burn is a bad motherfucker, man. Yeah. And even after Richie Blackmore left and they had Tommy Bolin in the band and they did Come Taste the Band, there's some badass songs on that record too.
Yeah,
man.
I'm not familiar with that stuff.
Dude, check it out.
Yeah.
It's got some jams on it.
I'm always usually when I find myself like trying like listening to new music, I'm at work at the drum shop.
You work at a drum shop?
Rufus Drum Shop, Vancouver, BC.
Oh, what's happening?
Yeah. So I'm like, I usually want to put on something I can vouch for,
right?
Because I just want to go and do stuff, and there's people in there. I don't want some shitty song on, you know? Right. Be like, oh fuck. So yeah, I'll take a chance one of these days.
That's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
Well, reverting back, I guess.
Yes.
Do you remember your first drum set?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What was it?
It was a Yamaha.
Oh.
DP.
Okay.
So it was just this like oversized.
For Deep Purple.
Yeah. I wish
it all comes full circle, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's this fucking kit that was like. I mean, I work at a shop now, and it's like they make kits that are smaller for kids.
Right.
And when I was playing drums, it was like you could get a toy kit, or you could get the ones that were like way too big for a little 10-year-old.
Right.
But my dad got me the Yamaha DPs, and they were hilarious, man.
That's awesome.
They were just deep ass toms, and like had to have them. They looked like Mickey Mouse's head. I had to have them set up so crazy,
right?
To like, get a good set up for that.
Absolutely.
I could reach. But no, it did the trick.
Do you have pictures of you playing that kit?
No, I don't think I do. My dad probably does.
I have pictures in my family photo album. My dad, when I turned 18, did like This Is Your Life, and it was from the day I was born until right up to my 18th birthday, and it was 4 photo albums of it.
Yeah.
He took pictures of everything and chronicled everything. And in some of the pictures, it's me playing my first kit, and it's hilarious, dude. The fucking toms might as well be just like vertical.
Yep.
Or like horizontal as a drum, but the head's vertical.
Oh, yeah.
And needless to say, I was just blasting. I was like, why am I fucking these heads up?
The heads
well, of course, because I was playing them at an absurd angle.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things in looking back at how I would set up things in my naive young years.
Yeah.
I
had a cool pearl ride cymbal.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You don't still have it, do you?
No, fuck no. God, yeah. It sounds exactly how you would
think it would sound.
Yeah, like it shouldn't have been made.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It was only good for young children who didn't know any better beating on it.
It's totally, yeah. I'm sure the bell was cool because it was as thick as this fucking table.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's hilarious, man. And of course you were playing it in the house, so your parents were hearing all that shit.
Oh my God, yeah. The drums were like in the living room.
In the living room, not even in your bedroom.
And then they were in my bedroom, but like in that house, it didn't matter.
Really?
Because it was so like you could hear conversations like anywhere in the house. So it's like drums in there was nuts. So yeah, my parents are fucking cool, man. I couldn't imagine living with that.
Right.
Like years of drums being hit full volume for hours at a time.
Tell me about it. I have a 6-month-old son, and I'm like,
Right.
It's quite possible that he would want to play drums at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm just imagining, and my parents weren't musicians,
Yeah.
so I don't know if I would be less tolerant, more tolerant, how to work out, but to
Yeah.
have that in the fucking house.
Right.
And of course, we can't do that in New York because we live in a fucking apartment. It's not like he's going to be setting a drum set up there.
Exactly, yeah.
But at some point, it's quite possible that it'll all come full circle, and
Yeah.
I'll be hearing my son playing drums.
That's
and
cool.
his potentially, well, certainly shitty bands along
Yes.
with it.
Yeah, that's how they start.
Everybody starts out, it's from scratch.
Yeah.
It's the way it goes. More recently, let's get into, I guess, some of the bands that you were playing in, of
Yeah.
which there are many. I think it's crazy. Have you ever put out 3 records in 1 year previously? Or 3 different bands, I should say.
Right, yeah. I don't think so. I think this is the first time that everybody's kind of coming out like in the same year.
Right.
Yeah, it just kind of happened that way. Like a lot of the Sumac one was recorded like this time last year.
Okay. Was that at God City?
It was no, Kurt did it, but we had him come out to Washington.
Okay.
It's a town called Shoreline, Washington.
Really?
And it was just like an amazing, beautiful place, like right on the water. But yeah, the studio is called Robert Lang Studios, and if you look it up, you'll be like, oh yeah, I know these records. It's like
really,
yeah, and it's just like this really cool spot that's built onto a hill, and it goes up like there's just tons of floors that I didn't even get to see. There's like it's just they said there's like parts of it that are like haunted or something, and there's like
whoa,
it's just a cool spot to chill and make a record. I mean, it was a quick process, but nice spot to spend time and close enough that I could just drive down there in a few hours. So
that's amazing. Well, that's one of the questions.
Yeah.
Is that like where are you all based? Where is Sumac based out of? Because you're in British Columbia.
Yeah, I'm in Vancouver. Brian and Aaron are both like in the Seattle area.
Okay.
Not exactly in the city. Aaron lives on an island.
Nice.
Maybe like
Orcas Island by any chance?
No, he lives on Vashon, so it's just like just kind of past Seattle, and then a like 20-minute ferry.
Awesome.
But yeah, I live in Vancouver, so that's a 3-hour drive.
Oh, that's not bad.
To get to Seattle.
Okay.
And then from there to get to Aaron's place. So yeah, when we jam, either I'll drive down there, he'll come up to Vancouver and spend the night or whatever, or vice versa.
Right.
Try to get a couple jams in, but usually that doesn't happen at all. We just book a tour and jam that day, and then we're on tour.
Well, then how the hell do y'all even write the shit to record the Sumac records?
Aaron writes it like all the songs. And he'll demo them. Just like with a couple guitar tracks, and if he has vocal ideas, he'll have them down as well, or whatever I think he has at that time. But usually it's like a really good skeleton of what the song is. But when you're hearing the songs with just guitar, a lot of it's like, I don't know what this is even going to be, because
of course not.
A lot of it's really free and like interpretive to whatever. So yeah, it's a cool process, but it's like different and scary every time, because
I bet
usually he'll have something written and we'll kind of just book time before. We'll maybe get like one jam in where we'll get to go over parts of one song.
Jesus.
And then the next time we see each other, we'll be preparing for the record, and it's usually like I'll go down there for like 5 days or something. We'll jam all of those days, and then we'll go straight in the studio and lay it down and just do it live.
Fuck.
And usually we only have, actually, yeah, every Sumac record has been like 4 or 5 days tops of tracking. You know, the first day is basically a write-off. If you get one song done, you're laughing because you got to set everything up and all that shit. So
right.
Yeah, it's usually like a day and a half tops of drums, and then, you know, bass and guitar overdubs, and then Aaron kind of takes it home and adds his vocals and shit after. So it's usually really quick, which kind of lends itself to how the records sound and feel.
Right.
Because we're all doing it together, but doing it for one of the first times we've ever done it.
Jesus, flying by the seat of your asses.
Yeah, so the songs actually progress the more we tour because they are still in their, like,
right,
you know,
kind of the infancy, because you haven't
on
really
the record
developed them as a unit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, so
that would give me major anxiety going into a studio knowing that, because
Yeah.
I've only done it in the form of prepping myself
being
for months.
prepared.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've never had the preparation thing.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it's just been like, let's fucking do this, get it down, and not think about it too much.
Whoa.
Yeah, so it's cool, but it's also, yeah, you have to, like, tell yourself, I'm just gonna do this, and this is gonna be what it is, and not get too hung up on, like, oh, I wish I would have done this part different, or why didn't I think of this yet? It's like, well, you didn't have a chance, you know?
Whoa.
I mean, that Sumac record, we tracked like an hour, and it was 90 minutes of music, I think, that we tracked in those like 4 or 5 days.
Whoa.
So that's like, you know, that's like 3 LPs worth of tunes almost.
Jesus.
So we have a song that's off that we're using for something else. So it's like tons of fucking music to get down. Especially,
Jesus.
like, yeah, the Baptist, like my other band, is a funny, like, comparison because, you know, one Sumac song is almost the length. There's a song on the new Sumac record that's as long as the first Baptist record.
I was just looking at that, the song, and what is the name of the new Sumac record?
Love and Shadow.
Okay.
Yeah, and the first song, The Task, is like 25 minutes long.
God damn, dude.
Yeah, and the first Baptist record was 26 minutes, I think.
Yeah,
long.
and how many songs?
Like 13. So, yeah, it's cool to go from both sides of the spectrum like that.
Do you feel that in the live context that you have to adjust to a certain degree? Because, I mean, with Baptist, and just from seeing you playing in videos and whatnot, it's definitely, you're fucking going for it physically.
Yeah.
Whereas, obviously, if you're playing a 25-minute song or whatever, however long, could significantly longer, do you feel that you have to get in a particular mental space to sort of pace yourself differently?
No, there's no pacing.
You're like, fuck a bunch of pacing.
It's on or off, yeah.
That's awesome.
But I feel like it kind of works itself out. Like, the songs are long in Sumac, but there's a lot of, like, I feel every song is almost written like a record is written, where it has
lulls.
a lot of, there's flow, ebb and flow, and like cool textured spots and spaces where I'm not playing at all. So there's like, you find your spots to like take advantage of not playing.
Right.
Whereas in a Baptist set, we'll do like 4 or 5 songs in a row and then stop for 2 minutes.
Just rip.
And then carry on. It's the same amount of space almost. With breaks.
Oh,
in
that's
there.
interesting.
Yeah.
I
It kind of works itself out. And I mean, I disperse my energy the same way. It's like in Baptist, I'm going as fast as I can for the entire set.
Right.
But in Sumac, when I'm not fully, like, you know, there's really slow parts, but I'm still like using all that energy and just trying to, like, you know, destroy all of my shit.
Exactly.
So,
dude, well, it's funny, reverting back just for 1 second, I guess when you talked about that amazing studio that y'all had Kurt Ballou come out to record the Sumac record, do you find it ironic that, because it sounds like this serene, beautiful landscape and environment, and yet you recorded this incredibly dark record? So I guess my question for you is, what is it that appeals to you? Because you play in obviously a few bands, and all of them are pretty dark, pretty heavy stuff. What is it that appeals to you about that sort of darkness, that tonality?
I don't know. That's something that's kind of been in me since I was a kid anyway. Like, I was always drawn to horror movies.
Really?
I always liked, you know, like, drawing the fucking devil or whatever when I was a kid, and like I played Doom every day. Like, I'm just like, that's always been kind of my shit. I don't know, there's like an outlet side of things where like playing aggressive music is like almost the healthiest thing I can do for myself, because, you know, people that aren't, you know, it maybe that run in the same circles as like you or I, or like people involved in underground music, you know, be like, oh, why your singer's so mad? What's he so mad about? It's like, man, it's like, if everybody in the world had an outlet to scream into a microphone for an hour,
they'd probably do
people would be so much more chill. They wouldn't like take that out on other people, you know? If you can like focus your energy, like I get to go play drums for an hour tonight and I'm going to be so exhausted and everything will be out of me that I could have been feeling today or whatever.
Right.
I mean, I had a great day.
Right.
But it's like that side of things is just really, I don't know, just like a healthy thing that I feel.
It's the cathartic physicality of playing drums that I think, and most drummers that I've spoken to, one of the recurring things is that most of them, their personality type is kind of a jittery, sort of high beating or high BPM sort of energy level.
Yeah.
So I think to have that cathartic outlet is partially why they were attracted to beating something once again in time in the first place, you know?
Yeah, it's funny because I find myself like not lethargic, but not like a high energy guy in my daily life.
No, when I saw you earlier, I was like, this guy's mellow as fuck.
Yeah, usually like I'm not doing too much that's like similar to playing the drums in my day to day. I mean, like I'll ride my bike and stuff. Yeah, drums is like the one time where I like lose my mind. Yeah, and I like it. But yeah,
they're so therapeutic.
Heavy and dark shit. It's just that's the shit, man. It gets me going. It's exciting.
Was there a dark band that in particular that was like?
Not really. I mean, like I didn't even. I mean, AC/DC was like my gateway to everything musically because
that's amazing.
They were the band that to me, just like had the energy that I was drawn to. There was something about the energy that band had where they just like every song was full of tension and release. So it's like they build a verse, the bass doesn't change a fucking note. No. And then you get to the chorus and you just want to, you know, like rip your own head off.
Bang your fucking head.
Yeah. So, and then they had the, you know, all the imagery is like, you know, Angus fucking has horns on. Like
I love
devil
that.
Tail.
That's such a great image.
You know, that shit really stuck with me, and that kind of started me off just like appreciating like kind of raw and like driving music, and it just grew from there naturally into metal and whatever else.
Dude, when I think about it, in particular the Bon Scott era of AC/DC, I think that there's no greater representation of sort of cocaine, sort of booze fueled Anglo rock and roll, like I mean they're one of the few bands that got bigger once they lost their singer, you know? Yeah. And those first few with Brian Johnson are still killer.
Oh, yes.
Like, but I love the Bon Scott stuff, man.
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah, it's completely insane.
it's so good.
It's fucking nuts.
And then you watch video of them and like and the energy.
You can't even believe what you're seeing. Like, I think. That band still impresses me every time I listen to them. I'm blown away. Just that, also how simple their approach is.
It's crazy,
but it's uncompromising. And every song has its place and its purpose still.
Right.
Yeah.
A lot of people get bent over about, I guess, the redundancy sort of their sound, but I'm like, you know what? That's kind of their sound. Man, they've been doing it, and they're like, fuck it. That's our formula. We're sticking to it.
How dare AC/DC sound like AC/DC?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, what the fuck do you want? You want them to put out fucking Load and Reload? No.
Exactly. Well, getting back to Baptist for a second, correct me if I'm wrong, but to my understanding, the way that you ended up in Sumac was from working with Kurt Ballou via Baptist, right?
Yeah, totally.
And of which all 3 records have been recorded with Kurt?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was like the string of events. Like, we couldn't believe it, honestly, when Baptist started, because we kind of just got together and Danny had these songs written, and we just... Like Danny demoed a song that he did drums. He had a 4-track recorder, so he just did everything himself. Danny's a freak, so he's like, he had the first tune on our 7-inch is the one song. He's because I wanted to be in a band with those guys, and they're like, let's get let's get Nick to start a band with us. And like I was like, yeah, let's fucking do it. Like I want to be in a band with you guys.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, here's a song I wrote. Do you want to do this? And we just jammed it once, and we're like, what the fuck? This feels
super
really
adrenaline.
Good. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So we recorded like the 4 songs we had just to get them down, and this is like 2010. Beginning of 2010, so MySpace was still like a thing that you would think of.
Oh yeah.
So I made a MySpace page in my free time and just put up 2 of the songs, and I feel like it was like the first time we checked our MySpace, and Greg Anderson from Southern Lord's like, yo, let's put this out. You guys want this on vinyl?
Come on, are you kidding me?
Yeah, and we're like, is this a fucking joke? And it wasn't, and so that's how that started. And
whoa.
So that relationship started, and he actually invited us down to play the High Line in Seattle, and we played with Eagle Twin, and so it was a 6 show. It was like Great Falls and Eagle Twin, our first show in the States, and it was our our 7-inch release show. But Aaron was there.
No way.
So years later, Aaron was recording Old Man Gloom with Kurt.
Yeah.
And was just talking about these songs he had written for a band he wanted to start, but he didn't know any, or he hadn't maybe found a drummer in the area that he wanted to play with. And Kurt's like, well, that the dude from Baptist lives like a couple hours above you. And Aaron was like, oh yeah, I saw that band play. Okay, so then that was it.
Wow,
so
life is weird sometimes.
Absolutely, yeah. So it all just kind of happened separately, but because of some specific things. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned that the Baptist guys were like, let's get you to play in the band. What were you playing prior to Baptist forming that lent itself to you being in that band?
Sure, yeah. So we were all, like, I was in a band that started when I was in high school and then, like, broke up in 2009 or 10. Actually, yeah, 2010, right after Baptist started, called A Textbook Tragedy, which is, like, kind of like a mathy, like, spazzy metal band.
Awesome.
And we toured a bunch, and we did a bunch of stuff when we were really young, and we ended up being friends with the other 3 guys in Baptist. They were in a band called Jaws.
Okay.
And they were, like, they sounded kind of like Cursed. And I love their band in Vancouver, so we were just kind of friends from being in shows. They're a couple years older than me, but not
awesome.
Like nothing crazy. But yeah, we were just buddies. And Jaws broke up. Well, they broke up because their drummer left. So I was in contact with Andrew, our Baptist singer, and I was like, if you guys want to still be a band, like, I will play the drums in Jaws, and let's keep her going because I love your guys' band. You guys are cool. And before I could, like, I went to, like, write him an email, and he had already been like, hey, do you want to jam with me and Danny and Sean? Because, Danny, he said he was going to quit music, but he said if I wanted to play, then he would, like, write some more songs. So it was just because of that. We just connected at the perfect time to do it. It was just a crazy time where we just lined up with each other.
That's awesome.
And things just kind of, like, people were listening at the right time to be even, like, to even give a shit about it.
Stars aligned.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Well, who's done the artwork, and was it from the get-go, was the idea to have every album from Baptist start with the letter B?
No, I don't think anything was intentional.
Well, at this point, it looks like a pattern.
Yeah, I know. At this point, it is intentional.
It's definitely intentional.
It was never the plan, because we would have named our 7-inch, like, I don't know, Bevan-inch or something.
Right, exactly.
But who does the artwork? Oh, yeah, okay, so it's this killer photographer named Jillian Mann, and she just takes amazing shots, clearly. And she does them in really... I mean, I haven't been there for any of the shoots, but she goes out with our singer, and they just, I don't know, I feel like they don't even take, like, a million shots. She just has this, like, she's like, boom, album cover.
Whoa.
The Bushcraft album, we had a cover that Greg was not into, and when we looked at it after, like, yeah, this is nice, but it's not, like, exciting enough, and they just were like, okay, we'll try another one. And they went out to the woods, and she got that shot of Andrew swinging the axe, and it looks like he's a ghost.
It's awesome.
And that was, like, just how the fucking photo turned out. I don't know how she did that shit, but she she's got the touch. So yeah, we use her for everything, and I don't see why we wouldn't going forward.
I love the sort of continuity of it, because when I think the most north I've been in this country is up to Washington State, and it gets so beautiful up there. And it's so green and lush, and I like that there's that sort of once again continuity of color in every record. And with every one, it's like you're out in the woods of the Northwest or into British Columbia. I think that's so cool that you incorporated that. Or I don't know, maybe it happened and you're like, all right, that's our thing, you know?
I feel like it was just, once we did it once, we're like, well, this is us, man. This is where we live.
Right.
This is how, it's just how we kind of see ourselves. Once the first thing happened, we're like, yep, this is what we're going for. So and we just we thought it was a good aesthetic for the records, and keep it simple, just like a fucking shot in the forest that looks good, and like Andrew goes on adventures all the time and finds sweet spots, and that's about it.
Oh, when I look at those covers, I'm like, man, I just want to go eat mushrooms and go hang out in the woods. That's what it makes me want to do.
For sure, that's what I feel like when I look at anything.
Most things. Well, you don't also live in New York, so that if you're looking at concrete, you might not want to do that as much. Surrounded by tons of people you don't want to be around. But if you're out in the woods and it's beautiful and you're out there by yourself or with some good friends, then you might want to eat some mushrooms.
Yes.
So touring, you mentioned earlier that you've done a good bit of touring. It sounded like you started pretty early. Like, what age did you start touring at?
Like 19 or... 18
late
or 19,
teens.
like just after high school,
Gotcha.
Once we were done high school, it was go time.
Well, to this day, like, how do you now manage the 3 bands that you're playing in? I don't know, or if you're in even more. Like, is it tough? Is it there are conflicts? Is it?
I mean, sometimes just like scheduling things will come up, but it's okay. Like, it's a challenge just because all the bands that I'm in currently, nobody, like, not one band lives in the same spot.
Exactly.
So everybody's kind of spread out, and it's just, you just kind of have to, like, think ahead. And plan things accordingly. But, yeah, Baptist doesn't do a hell of a lot. And Sumac does the most out of any band I'm in. But it's still super manageable. It's, like, a few months a year. It's always a challenge, but it's not, like, I'm not, like, pulling my hair out, like, oh, I got all this shit to balance, because it usually kind of, like, does its thing, and it works itself out time-wise, as long as you guide it that way and or like communicate with everybody. That's the thing. It's like anything in life. If you like keep people informed on what at least you're doing or what you can and can't do, then things can work around that. You know?
Well, it's communication and management skills. You have to have that.
I mean, when Aaron and I first started hanging out, we made it a point to be like, if anything is like you don't want to do it, or if there's anything that's too long, or if it's like I feel this way, it's like we were both just like, let's just talk about it. And that's how it's been since day one.
That's great. Most bands are a dysfunctional relationship. That's been my experience for the most part.
That's kind of the benefit of starting a band. I was like 28. I'm not 20 or something where I'm like, don't even realize people have feelings or like needs. I'm just like, I'm a little kid.
Not just a narcissistic little prick.
It's like you're already like, you don't want to deal with shit that that comes your way. You want to be able to like be straight up about it. So, it was just a good time in my life to start a new band, I guess.
No shit. That's amazing, man. Well, props to you for keeping it all together. And I guess it sounds like somehow when going back home, you still have a job. You can still work at the drum shop.
Yeah, man, I'm super lucky there because it's friends of mine that I've known for years. And it just like, I needed a job and they literally fucking were like, we called each other on the same day. My friend was like, Blaine's opening a drum shop. I'm like, what? And so I call Blaine, the owner, and he's like, you want in? I'm like, of course I want in. And that was it, because Sumac was kind of new. Like, we'd only been a band for maybe like a year at that point. So they're like, we know you're going to be doing some stuff, so don't worry about it.
That's amazing.
We'll put you in roles that we don't necessarily like. You can still work full time when you're here, but like if you need to go, just give us enough notice that we can cover whatever, and that's how it's been so far. That's
amazing, dude. And I've spoken to a few people. You're one of the very few people, I could probably count them on one hand, who, in talking to them sort of about their life story, it almost sounds like your life is a kind of a bizarre sequence of coincidences that have aligned. And
That's how it
that
feels.
sounds like your life story.
Yeah, if you're looking out for opportunities, you might find them. And
keep your eyes open.
Maybe that's what happened, but I feel, it's just like, feel very fortunate.
Yeah, you have been. Well, man, before you run, let's talk Ludwig
Yes.
drums for a second.
I like those. Let's talk about those.
Let's talk about them. So I have an acrylite snare. I've noticed you have played one.
Oh, hell yeah.
I have the Superphonic.
Yes.
I have, I think it's a 74 Ludwig Vistalite kit, clear.
Fuck yeah.
And I know it's pre-75 because it has the smaller lugs on the 12-inch tom.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So that's one of the ways that I figured it out because I realized I think 75 or 76, they went to a slightly larger lug.
They did the full lugs on the 12s.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've got prior to that. It's got these funny-looking little lugs.
Yeah, the mini lugs.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of my... okay, so I have Vistalite kits as well. I have a clear Vistalite kit.
Do you know around what year?
No. I don't know. It's 70s for sure because it's, pointy badge and shit.
Gotcha.
But, and I have a smoke kit that I have added to a bunch. So I have way too many Vistalite drums.
That's awesome.
I have 4 24-inch Vistalite kick drums.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
Fuck.
2 clears and 2 smokes, so I can set up full.
Whoa!
And sometimes if we have enough room, if we're doing a West Coast tour, I'll bring a double bass drum kit,
dude,
because I don't have to fly out or do something. But like the mini lugs, because all my toms for the most part have been concert toms. They were all concert toms.
Really?
So those came with the mini lugs, and then whoever owned them before me had converted them into true toms. And so I have a lot of mini lugs as well.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's wild, dude. And in Baptist or like on the records, did you record with Ludwig snares? Did you record with Acrolite or Superphonics?
Okay, so I've never recorded with my Acrolite except for that live. There was like a live Rain City like YouTube video.
Yes, that is killer, and you're playing it.
And I love, that's
it
one of my.
It sounds badass, by the way.
One of my favorite drum sounds I've ever had is that live video.
Right.
Which is
sounds
really awesome.
It sounds incredible.
Jesse Gander, Vancouver, Rain City.
Woo,
Jesse
I'll put a link in the description, so if anyone doesn't know what we're talking about, you can check it out.
Yeah, check out Jesse's work. I just as an aside, I saw that Massgrave is playing here in a couple weeks. And Jesse Gander has recorded all the Massgrave LPs, and that's one of the best bands in the fucking world.
No way.
They're from Vancouver. Like
really
outstanding. Crust grind through the roof, but Jesse does the recordings and they're stellar. Anyway,
all right.
But yeah, the last Baptist record, I used my Copperphonic, and I used that on the last Sumac record as well. And then, the
Copperphonic.
Yeah, the Copper Superphonic. Yeah, 6.5 by 14.
Whoa.
Put some cast hoops on her.
Oh shit!
Power Stroke 77.
Oh, you got it.
That's the combo, man. That's the best shit of all time.
That's amazing. Do you feel like the Ludwig sort of interest started with like Ian Paice and Bonham and those guys?
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's where it started for
me. Especially Bonham, because that's still the drum sound that I aspire to get, and I feel like 40-something years later, nobody can even touch that shit.
Yeah.
Except for Harvey Milk, they
had a great drum
Harvey
sound.
Milk. Yeah, Kyle knew what the fuck was up. But. Yeah, definitely Bonham with the Ludwig thing, and I feel like that was like the main draw to that brand was him and just that huge drum sound.
Right.
I really liked Tama when I was a kid because I liked like Dave Lombardo and Lars played Tama, and all the like heavy dudes played Tama drums, and they looked really scary. They were always like the fucking long lugs, and like the toms are always like giant 2 feet deep, and it's like you watch the Seasons in the Abyss video, and it's like, if you don't want to play drums after that,
they also literally flew to Egypt and can film that and had sand off the pyramids dipping on their drum sets. It was
sand on the China symbol in the intro riff. Yeah,
so badass.
All the fucking tom fills, the kit's just shaking. Oh,
it's so good,
so sick. Yeah.
Oh, that was badass.
But I love the Luddies, man. Vistalites too. That's like kind of the perfect drum shell for me because it's so loud, but they just sound perfect every time.
They're great live kits. I kind of made a little bit of a mistake. Mine is an imperfect drum set, but it's live contacts. It's great. I did record with it, and I wasn't the craziest about it.
Yeah.
But I still, to this day, man, I love playing that fucking kit.
Yeah, I recorded every Sumac record has been recorded on a Vistalite kit.
No shit.
The deal was on. Aaron has like the Bonham like Amber reissue kit.
Whoa.
At his place. So That's what I used on the deal with like the reissue Superphonic that comes with it or whatever.
Awesome.
And then on What One Becomes, I used that exact same kit. So it's
Yeah.
like 14, 18, 26.
Awesome.
And then on the KG Hino recording that we did in Tokyo, the like Ludwig kit I had was like a fucking blue Vista Lite kit.
No way.
With a Superphonic, and it was like 14, 18, 22, but they had the silver dot heads on it, so the 22 sounds like a 28. It's just like just insane. I love how the drums sound on that record.
Fuck yeah.
And then on the last one I used my Smoke Vista Lite kit.
No shit,
Yeah.
all Vista Lights.
Yeah, every
you're
Sumac.
proving me wrong, man.
I know the thing is,
But
like,
also modern Vista Lights are more tolerable, I think, in a recording environment. But it sounds like
Sure.
you recorded with an older one.
yeah. So
or
yeah,
two.
my Smoke ones are 70s. So
Fuck.
yeah,
Right
I
on.
find the head choice too is pretty crucial.
Crucial, for sure,
So
on
I
the
found
older
that the coated heads are more musical, like
Uh-huh.
especially on the Vista Lite kit. It's just like super tonal, but they don't have any snap or bark to them.
Right.
And so I put clear Emperors on for the last record, and they just kind of smack a bit more.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
But yeah. I don't know.
Well, killer, man. Well, look, dude,
Yeah.
it was good talking to you. I'm glad we finally
Likewise.
caught up. We got to do a little drum nerd out.
Fuck yeah.
I'm looking forward to hearing you play. Are you playing Vista Lights tonight?
No,
I mean, our Ludwigs tonight?
I have Ludwigs. Yeah, they
Okay.
sent me a sick ass Keystone X kit.
God damn right.
Some oak shit going on.
Woo! All right.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, man. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing you geek out on this just drum shit tonight as you evolve your drum parts.
Yeah, you're
on the road, right?
You're gonna see some first time shit. Every show is like a different thing.
That's
so.
what I'm talking about, man.
Yeah.
Right on, dude. Well, it was
Okay.
good talking to you, man.
Yeah, you too, man.
Right on.
Thanks for having me.
All right, everybody. Thanks to Nick for rapping with me, and be sure to check out Sumac on their U.S. tour through September 16th in Nashville, Tennessee. Yee-hoo! And be on the lookout for the new Sumac record later this month, as well as Erosion's new record out October 19th. Shit rips, and Nick's a killer drummer, so check it out, y'all. We'll catch you on the next one. Flip-a-doodle dandy. Crash, bang, boom.